Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel again. This is Beto and this is Code with Beto. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can create this beautiful e-commerce UI using React Native and Tailwind CSS. As you can see, we have this minimalistic UI and it's pretty much only the UI. We do have this little functionality when we press the plus button, we increase the price, and we can of course press the button, but we don't have any extra functionality on only the UI. We do have dark mode, support for dark mode using the Tailwind CSS. So if you are familiar with Tailwind CSS, this tutorial is going to be pretty easy for you. Actually, the library that we are using, it's called Native Wind, and it's pretty much Tailwind CSS bring to React Native. Thanks to this library, you can check it out. Here I'm gonna leave all the links for the resources in this project in my platform Code with Beto. As always guys, you can go to codewithbeto.dev/projects and you're gonna find all the source code for this tutorial, as well as the links for the resources and extra information like the dependencies that we are using and all the configuration that we need to do for this project. You can go here and you'll find everything you need. You can just come here and copy everything. And now that you are here in Code with Beto, let me invite you to join my React Native course. Of course, one thing that you need to know is that the videos are in Spanish, so if you are trying to learn React Native and become a master in React Native and also practice your Spanish, this course is perfect for you. Although everything else is in English, I mean the conceptual overviews and everything, the code is in English, the projects are in English, but the videos are in Spanish. That's one thing that you need to know. But of course, if you want to improve your skills in React Native, I'm sure that this course is going to help you. You can check out the Only Chats application, that is the final project that we built. You can check it out as well here in the landing page, or you can download it for your phone if you want to test it in real life. Right? I'm gonna leave the link in the description below if you want to check it out, right? You can scroll down here in the landing page. You're gonna find the lessons that we're covering. Everything comes with the source code and everything is divided by sections and lessons, right? So if you are interested, please go to codewithbeto.dev/learn and join us. And without further ado, let's start with this tutorial, guys. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna go to codewithbeto.dev and I'm gonna select the e-commerce project and I'm gonna put it here on the right side of my screen. And I'm going to start by creating a new project using Expo. So I'm gonna run the command npx create expo app, and the name for this application is gonna be e-commerce for now. You can name it as you want. Now we need to wait a little bit until the project is ready. Once it's ready, I'm gonna access the carpet that we just created doing cd e-commerce. Once I am in the carpet, I'm gonna run the command code dot to open it on Visual Studio. Now that we are in Visual Studio, guys, the first thing that we need to do is install the dependencies that we are gonna be using. So I'm gonna go here to Code with Beto and I'm just going to copy these two commands to install Native Wind and Tailwind CSS, right? After we install these dependencies, we're gonna need to run npx tailwind css init to create a tailwind.config.js file. This file is gonna help us to write everything or the configuration for the styles in our project. So we need to make a bit change here. We're gonna change the content, and I'm gonna copy that from Code with Beto. Here, basically, we are saying which files we want to add styles using Tailwind CSS. So we are saying .app, that is our main component, and you can see down there it says custom directory. I'm gonna change that for components. You can change it for source if you have a folder called source, for example. But in this case, this is a pretty simple application, so I'm just going to create one folder and I'm gonna call it components. That's all we need for this application. So instead of using source, I'm gonna use components here, and I'm gonna hit save for now. I'm gonna leave all that as it is, hit save. And finally, one more thing we need to do before we can start working in this application. We need to change our Babel config, because we need to add this plugin for React Native, for native Wind. So I'm just going to copy all this from Code with Beto. Basically, we are just adding this line, plugins native Wind / Babel, and I'm gonna hit save. And now we can run this project and we can start working using styles with Tailwind CSS. All right, so I'm gonna say npx expo run, expo start, sorry. Right, now I'm gonna press I in my command line and restart my application here in my iPhone 14 Pro. Right, once the app is running, we can see that we have this text that says open app.js to start working on this application. We can start by trying this library, right? So we have here this style that comes with every React application, React Native application that we do. So I'm gonna change it for Tailwind CSS style. I'm gonna say class name, and this is gonna be very similar to Tailwind CSS for web, although it has a lot of limitations using React Native, of course. But here we can translate this style that we already had. We are gonna say flex1, and just to check it out, the colors, we're gonna say background sky 400, right? And as you can see, guys, super easy. We added these styles in line using Tailwind CSS. I love Tailwind CSS because it allows us to develop super quickly and style very, very fast. And let's say now item center, justify center, and background grade 200, right? So now basically we have these styles that we had already, but in one line, right? So it looks cleaner, in my opinion. So now let's start by importing use color scheme, because this is not the only thing that we can do with this amazing library. We can also use support for dark mode. This use color scheme, and make sure that you are importing it from native Wind. It's gonna give us an object of things. We can press control space, and you can see we can import or abstract color scheme, set color scheme, and toggle color scheme from use color scheme hook that we are importing it. So for now we are gonna be using toggle color scheme and the color scheme. The toggle color scheme is going to allow us to change from dark to light and from light to dark. So for example, now if I want my background to be black, I can just say background black. But in order to Tailwind to apply this style only when it's dark mode, we have to say dark semicolon background black, right? So now if I hit save, nothing is going to happen because our device is in light mode. So we need a way to change from light to dark mode. And I'm gonna delete these styles that we had down here. And I'm gonna use a switch from React Native. So we can just open tags here and write switch, and it's gonna be automatically imported from React Native. I'm gonna give it the value of color scheme, but a switch takes a Boolean value, so we can say color scheme equal to dark. What this means is that if the color scheme is dark, this switch is gonna be on, but if it's light, as it's light now, it's gonna be on in this case, but we want it to be on when it's dark, right? And on change, we're gonna add the function toggle color scheme, which is gonna toggle from light to dark in this case. Now, if I hit save now and I go here and change to dark mode, we can see that the style dark background black, it's applying, right? So this is working. Now, as I told you at the beginning, there's some limitations. For example, if I write in this class up here, in the main container text gray, for example, it's not going to change our text because we need to add those styles to the text tag specifically. Normally that will work on web, but not in React Native. So an easy way to see this is not the same way as web. We can see this Tailwind CSS like it's like we're doing classic style with React Native, but we are not allowed to do like transitions or heavy shadows or blur, stuff like that that we do on web with Tailwind CSS. We cannot do that in React Native. As you can see here, I added this text dark white, and it's not happening anything, right? So what we need to do is to cut this style from here, and we need to add it directly to the text tag, right? So I'm gonna say class name equal to, and dark text white. As you can see, the text now is white, and we can play with the switch and toggle the dark mode, and it's gonna be working fine because the default color for a text is black, right? So now that we know how this works, I'm gonna start by changing this text for new collection, because this is gonna be an e-commerce of clothes and that kind of stuff. So new collection, and I'm going to wrap this inside a view, and I'm going to add a class name as well for this view. And here we can say we want these items to be from left to right, so I'm going to say flex row, and we can add the text up here because I want it in the left side, and I'm going to say width full. And to separate these items a little bit, I'm going to say gap of 3. Nice. Now I think I'm going to change that for 5 because 3 is too small, and the text I'm going to make it 2XL, right? I'm going to say font bold just to make it clear that there's text in there, and as you can see, it's looking pretty good now. And when we change to dark mode, we have this cool design. Nice. So we have a little problem here. When we are in dark mode, the status bar, it won't display. So we can do almost the same thing that we did with our switch. We're gonna check if the color scheme is equal to dark. If it is dark, we're gonna set the status bar to be light. Otherwise, we're gonna set it to be dark. If I hit save now, you can see that we have now the white clock and the white battery on our simulator. Nice. And it's black on light mode. So this is working fine. Now that we have that working, we can go ahead and start by creating a new component. So I'm gonna start by creating a new file, and this file, actually this is not going to be a component. This file is gonna be our products. I'm gonna just paste these products that I found on internet. You can just browse, you can just get some items on the internet just to play with the UI. As you can see, it's 20 items. Each item has an ID, title, price, description, category, image, and rating. We're not gonna be playing with the rating, but you are free to do that if you want. Now I'm going to create a new component called Productslist.js. This component is gonna be a list of products, right? So I'm gonna start by importing all as React from React, and I'm going to export default this component called product list. Nice. This component is going to return a list, so I'm gonna use a flat list from React Native. A flat list needs data to work, right? So we are gonna use our products that we just pasted. This is an array. We already know that this is an array. So I'm gonna say data equal to products, and I'm gonna go up here and I'm going to import these products, right? Products, and I'm gonna say from /products. Perfect. Now that we have these products, we need to specify a couple more things here in our flat list. First, we need to set a key extractor. A key extractor, it's basically an ID, a unique ID for each element, so React can identify every element. And for this ID, we're going to iterate over each product like this, and we are going to use the ID of each element for the key extractor. Now that we have that, we're going to render an item, and the item that we're going to render, it's going to be a component, but for now we are just going to display simple text. But first of all, we need to extract the item like this, and we're going to say text, and for each item we can just put in the screen like the title, for example, in this case. Now we can import as well our text so we don't get any errors. We can hit save now, and if we go back to our application, we can import this new list that we just created. Everything is working fine still, so I'm gonna just open a tag here and I'm gonna say product list, and let's hit save. And as you can see, we have the list, but it's in dark mode, so I'm gonna comment it for now, go back here, change it to light mode, and then put it again. Nice. So as you can see, we have the titles of each element, and now we can add, for example, here a safe area view. This is going to help us to prevent the content from going outside the safe area view. So it's looking good now, and we can, I think, start working in our item. So I'm going to create a new file inside my components carpet here, and this item is going to be product card.js, right? So same thing, we're going to start by importing all as React from React, and we're going to default default this function component called product card, and this is going to return a view for now, right? I'm going to say import view from React Native just to make sure we don't have any errors. I'm going to need a text as well and an image because each product has an image. Finally, I'm going to need a touchable opacity. This touchable opacity, it's pretty much a button that when you press it, it gets opacity, right? So it's pretty straightforward. We are also going to need some icons for the plus and minus icons that we had in our demo. So I'm going to use and design icons from Expo. And finally, we're going to need to know the color scheme, and we're going to see why later, right? So this product card is going to receive a complete component or a complete item product with all its properties. As you can see here, each product has an ID, title, price, description. So we can just destructure whatever we're going to need to display or whatever we need to make this component work. In this case, we're going to need an image, the category, the title, the price, and the description. As you can see, we are not importing or destructuring the ID because we are not going to use it. And down here, using React state, I'm going to create a variable called count, and this count is going to storage the number of items that the user wants, and we are going to initialize it in 1 because by default we want the price for one item, right? If the user increases the count, we are going to multiply the price for the number of items for count, and we're going to do that later. So that's why we need this variable. As well, I'm going to destructure from use color scheme the color scheme, and inside this view I'm going to start by creating a text. Inside this text I'm going to just put the title that we are getting from the properties. I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to put the price. After the title, I'm going to put the description, and if I go back to my list products now, I can change this text item that we are rendering for each item for the product card. And remember that this receives the item, so we have to pass all that as properties. I'm going to use the syntax ... spread, or array spread like this, and as you can see, we have now a bunch of information because every time or every item is rendering its description, its price, and all its information. So now we can go back to the product card and we can still work, and we can keep working here. So let's start by add some style to this view of each item. I'm gonna say width full and background white. Let's hit save, and as you can see, we have that nice background. And when it's dark mode, I want my background to be gray 50, and this is white. But if we add an opacity like this, 10, it's gonna be like black, but not really black. Let's try that, and as you can see, we have that nice background for each item. Nice. So after that, we can add rounded at 3XL, and I'm gonna add a padding of 5. Let's hit save, and as like magic, we have this beautiful padding and these cards with that cool rounded. Now let's add some margin in the y-axis, so we have that nice separation. After that, I'm gonna create a view, and inside this view I'm gonna put the image for each item. So the source is gonna be an URI, and we are going to pass the image that we are receiving as property, right? So now we need to add a class name for this image. I'm going to add a width and a height so we can see the image. I'm gonna say width full because I want the image to take 100% of the screen, and height of 72. If I hit save now, we can see the images of each product. But as I was testing this application, guys, I was trying to do the thing that we do in Tailwind CSS on web, object contain, but this won't work here in React Native. This is one of the limitations that I was mentioning you. So the solution that I did, it was just to write a simple inline style like we always do in React Native. So I'm gonna say style, resize mode, and the resize mode that we want, it's contain, so the image looks good. Perfect. So now that we have this resize mode contain, as you can see, if we change to dark mode, we have this doesn't look great because we need the background to be white, right? So that's why we put this view. And now if we say background white in this view, we're gonna make this effect like the image it's taking the full width, right? But still looking good. So now we just need to add some rounded XL, and it's looking good in dark and light mode. So it's working. So now after that, once we have our image as we want it, we can add the category, and this category it's gonna be small text. So for this category, I'm going to put all this inside a view because I want to have some space between the text and the images. So I'm gonna say here class name, and I'm gonna add a margin top of 5. If I hit save now, we have that nice separation between the text and the image. And for the category, we're gonna start with this text. I wanna say that I want the text to be small, so we can say text small, and I want this text to be a little gray, so I wanna say black with 60 opacity. If I hit save now, we have that nice opacity on this text, and it's really small, but still we can see it really good. And now don't forget to add the style for dark mode. It's gonna be white with 70 of opacity. Nice. Now let's go ahead and start styling our title. Class name is gonna be text large and fonts semi-bold because we want this to be easy to see, right? It's the title of the item. In the dark, we're gonna have a text white, and as you can see, if I hit save now, it's looking super good. Now let's create another view, and inside this view, we're going to have the buttons to increase and decrease the quantity of each item. So I'm gonna need an icon, and the icon that I'm gonna be using is gonna be called minus circulio. All right. So the color, that's why we needed the color scheme. The color is going to change depending on the theme of the phone. If it's light, we're gonna use it black, and vice versa, right? So let's go ahead and hit save, and there we have our icon. We are pressing it, and when we press this icon, we are setting the count equal to the count minus 1, and when we press the plus icon, we are setting the count equal to count plus 1. So between these two icons, I'm going to put the count like this, and as you can see, if I press the plus button, it's going to increase. Now we need to add some styles for this text. This text is going to be extra large so we can see it, and in the dark it's going to be white. Nice. So now we want these items to be from left to right, so we can add a class name in this view saying flex row, and we are going to add a gap of 3. Nice. Now we want these items to be centered. We can say item center, and now it's looking really good. Perfect. So now after that, we need to show the price. So inside this before the price, I'm going to put this $sign, and I'm going to add a class name for this text. Let's say text to XL, font extra bold. Nice. Because it's a price, we want the price to be easy to see, right? Nice. So if we change to dark mode, we have that nice white text. Now we want the price to be to the right of the icon, so I'm going to wrap this in a view, and I'm going to add a class name flex row as well in this view, right? So class name flex row, hit save, and we want these items justified between, just to have one on each side. Now if we increase the count of the items, as you can see, the price is not changing. We can easily fix that just by multiplying the price like this for the count. So now it's 200, and if I increase the number of items, the price is going up. So that it's super easy. We achieved this functionality super easy. We just multiply the price for the count, and that's it. Nice. So after that, we need to add some style to our description, because now it's looking pretty bad. So let's say class name, and I'm gonna add a class text small. We want this text to be almost like the first text that we have there. So I want to say text black with 60 opacity and dark text white with 70 opacity. Right. Perfect. So now it's looking good. Now we don't want to have a description super large. As you can see in the second item, we have this huge description. In React Native, in each text, we can add this property called number of lines, and I'm going to set it to 2. So this is really nice, because if the description is 2, for example, whenever we are passing those 2 lines, we're going to get these 3 nice dots that look good, right? Finally, I'm going to add some margin on the y-axis. So now we have this nice separation between the price and the description and the title, and it's still looking good on dark and light mode. Nice. Finally, we need a button. Although we don't have the functionality, we can add this button just to make it look good. I'm going to use my Touchable Opacity from React Native, and I'm going to say add to cart inside a text, inside this Touchable Opacity. If I hit save now, we have that text. So now we need to add some background to this button. I'm going to say background black, and whenever it's dark, we're going to say background white. For this text, I'm going to add some style. I'm going to say text white, because the background is black. We want it easy to read. Whenever it's dark, we want the text to be black, right? Font bold, and we need to center this text. So I'm going to add padding of 3, and just to center, I'm going to say rounded full as well, just to make it look super good. and this is gonna need a flex. I'm gonna put it at the beginning. I'm gonna say flex row and justify center. So now we have the text in the middle of the touchable opacity or the button. Finally, I'm gonna say width 10/12 because we don't want this button to take 100% of the screen. And to center it, we can just simply say self-center and it's gonna be centered. Now let's add a margin top of 5 and our item is finished and looking super good. Perfect. Now we need to add some padding between the corners of the screen, so we can go to our flat list and add a content container style and simply say padding horizontal of 15. If I hit save now, we have that nice padding and our application is pretty much finished. We can just make sure that it's looking good in dark mode and light mode. And this is basically what I wanted to show you guys. As you can see, we can create super cool UIs using Tailwind CSS in React Native. And I really recommend this approach if you are making a small project or just a demo. It's super easy and it's super easy and quickly to create these beautiful UIs and have consistency. Of course, Tailwind CSS is gonna bring you consistency. We're gonna be using always the same sizes for the text, the same colors, the same separation, and pretty much that's it, guys. So we have that huge advantage using Tailwind CSS. And whenever you want to change a color, which you can just go here, and if you press Control Space, you're gonna have this nice autocomplete, and you can check the huge amount of colors that you can use for your project. And you can just hit save, and by using these colors, you're saving a ton of time, of course, right? So that's it for this video, guys. If you like this video, please make sure that you subscribe, give it a like. Don't forget to go to codewithbeto.dev and check the course if you want to become a master in React Native. And of course, if you want to check the source code, go to projects, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.